Bowser shirt. Bowser shirt. Bowser shirt. Bowser shirt. He's wearing a Bowser shirt. Danny Bauer looks like Bowser at 10:26 a.m. on a Wednesday. Today's live stream episode is an acronym: false evidence appearing real. Fear. Be afraid. Yes, there was one person here and they left. We're live with a Bowser shirt. Bowser Bauer, coincidence? I think not. Dean, you're deep on the Daniel Bowser Bauer conspiracy that has been brewing for decades at this point. What's up, buddy? What's up, everyone? Good morning. False evidence appearing real. Fear. That is a definition of fear that my coach Derek Kopp helped introduce to me. And actually, I would say maybe the primary purpose of coaching is to dismantle the fear that comes up. And I want to share that I had a great conversation with someone last night. It was a discovery conversation to potentially talk about a coaching agreement. And he had some fear around booking a gig, and in the middle of the call, I got him to book a gig. Well, it wasn't a call, it was an IRL conversation. IRL. But he drafted up a text where he told me he's got guys he plays music with all the time. He's got guys who love playing music with him and will play with him at any time. And that he's led a band before and he knows he could do it. And then when he went to email or send a text for this gig, he started drafting up his texts, and it was like, oh, I'm thinking about possibly putting a band together for a show and was wondering if you might have space. And he was like, oh, but I don't know what to tell them about what kind of music it is or what to tell them about this and this and this. And he had all this fear about if he couldn't tell them all the information and have all of his ducks in a row right now, like, then he's like a phony or a fraud or lying or couldn't send the text. And I was like, here's what I would send to him. I would say, hey, I know you're booking for this venue. Do you have availability in September or August for me to bring my band in? And he had all this fear, all of this false evidence appearing real. He's like, but I don't have a band. I was like, well, like, didn't you tell me you have people who will play with you at any time? He's like, yeah. And basically we went through it. I was like, well, if he gives you a date, you can ask those people if they can do that date, right? And he's like, yeah, and if I really want to do that date and somebody can't do it, I even have money to pay them to make sure they can do it. I was like, there you go. I was like, so what are your objections here? And he realized, like, when we talked through all of the things that had him scared from sending the text, that there was actually nothing holding him back. It was just in his head. And that was some false evidence appearing real right there. And that's such a powerful definition of fear right there, that sometimes the things we're scared of, we're so sure of, it's like, oh, this is how it's going to go. But it's actually false evidence appearing real. And fear loves to be undefined. And it's this weird, scary thing where once you start to define fear, it really goes away. And once he defined, like, oh, like, well, exactly what I'm scared of is that I don't have a band and that I won't have a band. And it's like, well, do you have people you can play with? Yes. And you can pay them to make sure they do the gig? Yes. So what are you scared of? It's like, oh, actually nothing. And then he was able to send the text. And then amazingly, the person texted him back within minutes and was like, yeah, I'll send you some dates at that time frame. We can definitely get you in. Boom shakalaka. Look at that. I've noticed that with my rejection therapy, with going to the park, with asking people to be in videos, with asking people out and stuff, that I have lived my life with a lot of fear around talking to strangers as I think many people do. And I had this false evidence appearing real that approaching strangers is annoying, or especially approaching women, you will be labeled a creep, or you'll be labeled, like you'll be me too'd or whatever. And I'm seeing that the more I've approached strangers, it's been the exact opposite. My false evidence was approaching strangers. Strangers will dislike you if you approach them. And that was some false evidence appearing real to me. And as I've just been able to say, you know what, like I'm going to approach strangers and see what happens. Almost every time they're happy I approach. Sometimes they're not, but almost every time they are. Last night I was playing a gig at a background music gig, and we went to go on a set break, and I turned to John, my buddy I was playing the gig with. I was like, you see that girl down in the lobby right there? I'm going to go get her phone number. I just walked down and started talking to her. We chatted for like 2 minutes, and then I said, "You're really pretty. Can I have your phone number?" And she giggled and was like, "Yeah, sure," and gave me her number. And I don't think I texted her, and I do not expect her to text me back. But it was more about, I was kind of showing John the principle of it. Like, yeah, just like go talk to people, and it's easy. And this false evidence I've lived with my whole life, that if I approach a girl and ask for her number, she's going to think I'm a creep. It was false evidence appearing real, and it's false. It's not real. And our whole worlds are built around stories. We think we are objective. Well, I don't know. I won't speak for you. I'll say that I know people. You live in a story. I live in a story. Whatever narrative you're telling yourself about the world, it's really easy to believe that narrative is true. And so I spent my whole 20s with this narrative of like, I can't go approach a woman. I can't go walk up to a girl and ask her out. Like, first of all, I'm ugly. Second of all, I don't know what I would say. Third of all, like, she's going to be annoyed. Fourth of all, like, whatever, she's probably got a boyfriend. And now at 31, I've been like, no, I'm just going to go approach people and see what happens. And I've met a whole bunch of cool people. I've made some really funny internet content. I've had some really cool interactions, and my confidence has skyrocketed. And I really am a different person than I was before. And it's been really cool, really beautiful. So fear is just false evidence appearing real. And sometimes what we're afraid of is right in the way of exactly what we want. And there's a thing we want, but we are sitting on some false evidence appearing real that's stopping us from getting that thing. I wasn't booking shows for a long time because it was like, well, I don't have any friends that are going to love my music and want to do my music. And then I just booked a show and called some guys, and now I've got people vying. Like, people love my music, and people want to play it, and all my music, not just my fusion stuff, but my funny songs too, my songs I sing. It's like there's like a whole plethora of musics that I do that people want to hear and want to play with. And last night late, I performed comedy at an open mic, and I haven't watched back the video. I felt like I bombed. I probably did okay, but I felt like I didn't do a great job. And I have not gone to open mics because of the fear of doing badly, and then everybody remembers and you're screwed. And it's like, last night, several people didn't do very good. Some people were really funny. A lot of people were medium to medium bad. And I think I fell in that category. And, I just got off stage and nobody was like, never come here again. It was just like, whatever. You got up. I think everybody was glad people get up there and try. And now I know it's like, I'm going to go to another one on Thursday, and I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to try some things different. We can let fear stop us from doing things that we really want to do. I had fear that if I posted a whole bunch of videos, it would be annoying and people would want to stop seeing it. And it's funny because there is a truth. People have unfollowed and unsubscribed, but more people have followed and subscribed, and more people in real life have told me about how they really like that I'm making all this stuff. And I've heard so many great things from people. I've had specifically people talk about the live stream being really helpful in certain ways, and specifically people talk about my shorts videos being helpful in other ways. I remember my buddy Randy, he said to me, he said, keep making weird art. Like, we already have enough boring art. We need more people like you to make weird art. It's like, okay, awesome. Like, if I was nervous about, oh, if I post too much, I'm going to be annoying, I wouldn't be showing people that you can just make a lot of weird art. And yeah, also my growth on YouTube, well, on all my platforms, has been bigger than it's ever been, from posting way more and from structuring my life where I have time to make a lot of videos that are simpler. And yeah, it's funny the things people say that they hold on to as true. I remember this just came up. I remember like a decade ago, somebody said, they probably heard this somewhere, that, oh, if you don't like pop off after your second album, like, you're in trouble. And it's just like, they heard that somewhere and just took it on as true. And that's false evidence appearing real. Because we don't know what the future looks like. And I'm still going. I have 5 albums, and I didn't pop off after the second album, but people can hold on to beliefs like that handicap themselves. Another thing, specifically on like posting on social media, people get really hung up on what time of day you're supposed to post. It's like, oh, you got to post Wednesday at 2 p.m. And they just like heard this and just like took it as true. It's false evidence appearing real. And I've been there where, like, I don't have a specific memory, but I know a few years ago it could have been like, oh, it's like, oh, I'm going to post at 2:00 today. And then like 4:00 comes around. It's like, oh, I got to post tomorrow. And it's like, why don't you just post and then like make another thing? False evidence appearing real. I'm not creative. I can't make money from original music. Streaming killed the music industry. All these things that people believe, these things that are holding them back, and there's a high possibility that they're false. They're fear. So yeah, I wanted to share that today. I'm playing at Firewood Barbecue tonight with Luke and Vinny. Evan's out of town, so Vinny will be playing bass. That's going to be real fun. And we're playing 8 to 10 at Firewood Barbecue in Wicker. If you want to support the stream, send me a Venmo, which is actually Venmo, but it's spelled wrong. False evidence appearing real. If I have a typo in my stream, people will think I'm an idiot. I think some people probably think I'm an idiot, but I don't really care. But if you would like a CD, send me a Venmo for $10 or more, and I will either hand deliver you or mail you a CD. I've got that one. I've got another one too. I'll just show you the artwork for the other one. They're really fun, really good music. And then if you are interested, the conversations like this I have on here, if you're interested in getting these conversations tailored directly to you in a way that pushes you to think in new ways and challenge your limiting beliefs and challenge your perceptions of the world and be able to change the way you see the world just in an hour conversation, let me know. We can meet up. We can have a conversation totally free. We don't have to, we could at the end of it say, you know what, let's do a coaching agreement and talk about that. But starting off, let's just do it we'll do a free conversation. That's what I did last night. And I think it was beneficial to everyone, honestly. And I know I can help people who want to create on a bigger level than they're creating. Maybe you are writing songs, but you're struggling to have the commitment to releasing a record. Or maybe you want to paint and you've never painted before. Oh, what's up, Dean? I really like the topic today, but I think I need to sit on and think for a bit. I don't have anything to throw out for you to bounce off of right away. That's all good, dude. I'm glad you're liking the topic. I think it's a big one to talk about. I think kind of the fear and specifically just like recognizing we live in stories. I'm really I've been thinking a lot about the stories musicians live in that I've lived in too. Like one that's really big is you can't make money from original music. Or I heard somebody say either the gig pays a lot of money and the band leader sucks, or the gig pays nothing and the band leader's cool. Either the music's fun or it pays a lot of money. Another big one that I'm smashing that I'm like, no, this is stupid, is like the algorithm is working against you or the algorithm hates you. People have all this fear around the algorithm, all this fear about, I think a lot of musicians, people who want to put their stuff out there are like, oh, if I put a piece of bad content out there, people are going to hate me. People are going to be done watching me. It's like, it's not true. Do you know how much bad content I put on the internet? You know how many videos I have out there that are like, wow, that's not that good. And I actually have more followers and more influence than I did because I had to put that bad content out there to get to the next piece of content. I think there are some things that used to be true that we heard, but things change and you can be the change. Absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes they're true, sometimes they're not. It depends. Life is complicated, but like, let me think of an example of something that tangible in my life where it was a truth we're hanging on to. Like, I'll say, like, when people say, like, I hear older musicians talk about this a lot, like, oh, before streaming, we could make so much money on music. We could sell our CDs. Before social media, I was this, and now I can't. And it's like, okay, like, I hear you. Like, the model you had stopped working, and that sucks. But there are new models that are working, and we can sit here and lament that people don't buy CDs anymore, which maybe isn't even true. I actually don't know if people don't buy CDs anymore. But maybe they don't, but maybe they're buying vinyls, or maybe they're buying cassette tapes, or maybe they're buying beanies with download codes on them. I don't know. Point is you're right, Dean. Sometimes things change and we hold on to the old model of it. It's like every year in December, musicians go on a rampage about how much they hate Spotify. And I'm like, I haven't made much money from Spotify, but people in France have heard my music. And like my song Get To It is on a playlist called Funky Restaurant Playlist that every weekend gets a bunch of plays, because I'm guessing there's some restaurants around the country that play this funky restaurant music playlist. And so I don't even know, but my song gets heard in bars around the country. And it's like, that's freaking cool. That wouldn't happen without streaming. And I have sold thousands of CDs over the course of my career doing original music. So people have bought CDs. So yeah, things change and you can be the change. I love that, Dean. Thanks for your contribution. You're a great guy, Dean. All right, I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm going to go do some pull-ups in the park. And have a great day, everyone. Again, if you're enjoying these and you want to send me a Venmo for $10 or more, it gets you a CD. And if you're interested in a conversation about how you might change your life, send me a message. We can set up a conversation. Have a good day. Bye.